Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I release a legacy video every Friday. Hello everyone, Martin here, back with another legacy video, and today I'm back playing Turbo Doomsday. I think we're still at a point where the format is sort of shuffling into place, so I don't feel like there is any actual consolidation. I think control decks are still like very poorly positioned because of Eldrazi. Um, I've it's been my feeling for ever since the first time I was playing like a Bant sort of beanstalk deck and ran into like machine gun sowing myco spawns that that card isn't particularly beatable if you're trying to play a fair mid to long game, due to the fact that it also kills your basic lands and you just can't keep up with that. So I don't expect to run into any control, or at least I would be a little bit surprised, but you never know. I think there's still a lot of combo, so I think we need to be prepared for that. Um, but lately, I've been facing just a lot of non-blue decks. So this is the setup I had with this list last time I played, except I swapped Fairy Macabre and Nihil Spellbomb for 2 copies of Grafdigger's Cage, which I think might be a better choice versus the graveyard strategies. And it also does some work versus Nadu. Although I'm not completely sure on that in this context, because versus Bant Nadu or Cephalid Breakfast or whatever, I mean, it doesn't really stop a resolved Nadu plus Nomads. Yeah, it can mean that they can't like put Dried Arbor into play or fetch a land to get Dried Arbor, so it does maybe slow them down just a little bit. But what Grafdigger's Cage really does in that matchup is it switches off Green Sun Zenith and Natural Order. Um, and then if it's a breakfast build, then it also sort of makes it so the Cephalid Illusionist doesn't just instantly kill you with Nomads. But I'm not completely sure on that. Um, but yeah, I don't know if this setup has too many cards for tempo. Like basically, if I were to face a Delver deck, I would want to board in these 8 cards, possibly the second island. I still think like when I just open up this deck list, which I haven't played for like about a month or so since the ban, or since just after the ban, I was like, oh, well, there's a second island there. Oh yeah, that's right. But I do still think like there is a lot of Blood Moon floating around, and this list doesn't play any Lorien revealed, so having access to second island, it also synergizes pretty well with Jace Wheeler of Mysteries, and I was expecting a lot of Pyroblasts, but that just hasn't happened because I think a lot of the threats of the format are like continue to not be blue, particularly Eldrazi, and the fact that Moon Stompy is now back being a Chalice of the Void deck, that means they're not playing Pyroblast either. So the Pyroblast decks remain Painter, obviously, and then well, I have heard about an uptick in like Rug Delver, and if Red like eases its way into tempo decks, then obviously Jace gets less good. But so far, I'm not really facing any tempo in the leagues. But that's obviously the cue for me facing like 2 or 3 tempo decks in this league. But we shall see. All right, let's jump into a league. All right, we are on the draw here with a fine hand. I'm going to keep this. We can fight over a Chalice for 1 or combo shenanigans on turn 0, and then we have like a line towards Doomsday. Well, no, would you look at that? What did I just say? All right, Dragon's Rage Channeler out of a volcanic island. So either I would say, well, that's the cool thing about Legacy right now. This could be either one of Grixis Delver, Rug Delver, or Izzet Delver. I don't expect Jeskai to be a thing, but you never know. They pop their bauble immediately, and they almost have the what do you call it? Delirium here. And they saw we draw that we would draw brainstorm. Also, I don't feel like firing off personal tutor right just yet, but I might do it next turn. They're not casting a sorcery or instant here, which would have gotten them delirium. So now we have to consider Orcish Bowmasters. I think I don't fetch the Surveil land here and instead take my draw step. Okay. Honestly, I think I fetch here. We're open to Wasteland anyways. All this does it makes it so I don't have to worry about having to fetch after the casting personal tutor. That's my main reason for doing this. I can't imagine it, but I would absolutely love if they fought over this. I don't expect... Oh yeah, I guess I would expect a Surveil land here, but I'm not expecting a spell. Okay. I guess that makes sense, yeah. Okay, this also makes me think they don't have Bowmasters. So what gets... how does this work? Oh, okay, never mind. They surveilled. That's what just happened. Okay, and now I get to see what they exile. Ponder and Unholy Heat. Ponder is nice for them. Unholy Heat, not so much. This ensures their delirium. So what I think I'm going to do is actually... I'm going to cast a Brainstorm on the end of my turn. Or, sorry, on the end of their turn. I'm just really hoping not to get Wastelanded here. Wasteland is probably my biggest enemy here. They choose not to shuffle. Uh-oh. And here comes the 3 damage. If they do Wasteland me, do I even put Doomsday on the stack? Or do I just Brainstorm? Okay, that's not a Wasteland. Second DRC, okay. Okay, I'm gonna cast Brainstorm now. I would not hate getting a Daze out of the way here, but okay. That's nice. Let's see here. I'm gonna be at 7 post Doomsday whether I fetch or not first. And then we have to not lose to a Lightning Bolt, but we can do that with, like, we're at 7, Force takes us to 6, Street Wraith takes us to 4, so that would be fine. I do actually kind of want everything here. I guess we can, because we drew the land, we don't have to keep hold of LED. Yeah, it's funny, like, excuse me. Or I guess, like, seeing as we drew the Street Wraith, the Brainstorm can be pitched to Force, so we can put back Personal Tutor and then draw LED, and that's kind of nice, because that is extra insurance versus Daze. But yeah, I think, funnily enough, we lose to them just sitting on a Force of Will here. Excuse me. Yeah, if they have Force and they don't use it on Doomsday, then I think we just lose if they save it. Obviously, if they have double Force, we lose. Dark Ritual. Okay, we let the Surveil triggers happen. Put 2 cards into their graveyard. It was 2 fetch lands. Let's see. All right, so that resolved. Okay, so now if they are sitting on double Daze, then me making a normal Brainstorm pile loses here. What I could do is make the pile, so Street Wraith into Consider. Consider puts away a random card, draws an edge. Edge draws another edge, which draws Thassa. I think I like that. That doesn't lose to double Daze. It loses to Pyroblast if they play that in the main, but that would really surprise me. Yeah, I think we... if we lose here, it'll be due to them having, like, having another Force they for some reason chose not to play out, or them having some off the beaten path main deck inclusion, like main deck Consign to Memory or something. Okay, let's see here. So cycle Street Wraith, crack LED, so I have 5 blue. Use one of them to cast Consider, binning the Cavern of Souls. I draw Edge of Autumn. Cycles into Edge, cycles into Thassa. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, Consign a Memory, I guess Spell Snare, if that's a thing. Or Pyroblasts. Alright, let's play out the LED. And I'm gonna cycle the Street Wraith and hold priority, and then I'm gonna sack LED for blue. We cast Consider, do the thing, put Cavern of Souls in the graveyard. Cycle Edge of Autumn number 1. Tap the land just in case would be relevant for some reason. And we draw Thassa. Thassa's in play. And they had a lightning bolt. Alright, cool. And they surveil heroically. Preordain. Okay, that's interesting. And we win. Alright, cool. So always nice taking game number 1 there. Alright, so I don't think we keep in Jace here. I think Jace is the win condition to cut for Pyroblast reasons. So we want access to these, at least these 8 cards, maybe the basic island. I'll have a think about that. And what do we cut here? I think cutting Force of Will makes sense. We're bringing in like 6 pieces of, I think, probably better disruption. And so, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like most of the rest of the cards here. 4 cards. We need to cut 4 cards. We could cut like a couple of days, but then I don't want to go too low on disruption. I guess I'll trim a ritual and a personal tutor. I'll trim 2 personal tutor because we also have the 2 Shieldrits coming in. Yeah, let's try this. I'm not sure about going up to 17 lands. I think it is possibly correct to board out one of the dual lands and just make that a swap, but then again, we are a deck with a complicated need for mana. Oh, so close. I have to mulligan this. Like if this wasn't a wasteland deck, I would be tempted to hope to find a land in the top 2 cards, but as it is, I think I'm gonna mulligan. I'll keep this, and I'll actually bottom the Underground Sea and keep hold of Cavern of Souls, because if we draw Shieldred, then this is a really nice setup here. Okay, they have a threat immediately, which is good for them, not so much for us. All right, we need. I mean, this is it's kind of rough. We need both to hit a business spell, so like Doomsday or Personal Sphere or Shieldred, and we also need to hit Disruption. We hit 3 disruption pieces, so we have to shuffle this and hit LED. Okay, yeah, not looking amazing here. And they flip the Delver off of Pyroblast. So now the card I was probably mostly hoping to draw, aside from Shieldred, would be Brainstorm, and that's now off. Yeah, I think now the game becomes about resolving Shieldred and hoping they aren't able to remove her. And with double threat here, it might not even be possible. Okay, the defense grid is interesting. So I'm going to play out my Lotus Petal here to not lose defense grid to a Daze. And we'll see. They might have consigned a memory for this, but then that's something we would have to be beating anyways. Yep. Surveil Wasteland into the graveyard. We're going to be at 11. Let's say we were to resolve Shieldred. We can like gain 2 life by cycling Edge of Autumn. But then like we are facing just too much pressure now, I think, for even Shieldred to save the day. Well, let's try Brainstorm. I am expecting this to get Pyroblasted. Okay. Counterbalance, okay. Still somehow they're not delirious. Maybe I should have played out the land here. Okay, so they try to seek the beast to ensure that they flip their Delver. That feels a little bit aggressive. They like what they found. And what was that? That was Lightning Bolt and Brainstorm. And they flip the Delver with Lightning Bolt. Okay, so this is it. We draw Doomsday right now. We didn't. Okay. I think we might win there. I mean, they could be sitting on force blue card, but they were tapped out. We had all the components here. Okay, interesting. Do we want? I think we might want the fourth days on the play, and I might cut what? I think I might actually try what I just said and cut an underground sea. It is a little bit risky as we end up with only four fetchable untapped black sources. Okay, I think I have to keep this. They mulligan to 6. Okay. I'm going to cast a Ponder here. Those are good cards. I want those. And I don't draw the Underground Sea just on the very off chance that they go Wasteland Surgical Underground Sea here. I don't think they would do that, but you never know. I think I want to start with a Duress here. Double Bolt and Force plus Consign to Memory. Okay, I think I take the Consign, and they didn't shuffle with the Ponder. That's the second volcanic. Counterbalance. Oh, that's actually really gross. I think I fire off Brainstorm. There's a fetch land on top of the deck. I get rid of one defense grid. I think maybe having the second defense grid is actually better because they're about to have Force of Will mana open. Alright, we'll see if they have a 2 on top. They don't want to reveal. So what do I do with that information? Nothing probably. I would think they might have a 1-drop and it's a creature. Skulling Tarn. Yeah, there it is. They bolt me right away. That would make sense. Just try to get the game over and get like equity out of their counterbalance. I fetch Undercity Sewers here. Don't think we want another discard spell. Draw one anyway. Yeah, okay. I'll throw this into the counterbalance, and if it doesn't resolve, at least we can resolve the defense grid. Okay, they had a Brainstorm. Alright, so this is going to resolve, and basically means their Force of Will is a dead card now, so they have to just be casting spells on their turn for this to make sense. And the good thing is, I don't think they have much of a way of putting 3-drops on top, so drawing Doomsday is good, but now we're like really under the gun here. More creatures here, and I think it's looking pretty bad for us. But no. Okay, can I draw something? I cannot. I do kind of expect them to have a 1 on top. Is it worth finding out? Because they have a Lightning Bolt, which right now does nothing in their hand, so they would have put that on top, I would think. So casting this Thoughtseize, I think I'm going to pass in case I draw Brainstorm, and it's better to have another card in hand. They didn't shuffle, so they wanted to draw whatever it is they had on top. Another 1-drop Delver, okay. Personal Tutor. Okay, now I am actually going to try this. I think they still have the Lightning Bolt on top because they want to flip the Delver. They're trying to pay mana here. They forgot that I have Defense Grid in play. Ooh, and there's a land. So that's good. Okay, and Lightning Bolt cost me 2 life here, or Thoughtseize, but it actually gains me 1 life because it gets rid of the Lightning Bolt. And I am gonna... So now they can fetch and hope to find... Let's just see here. So their hand is Force of Will right now. Okay, this is big. Please don't reveal a 1-drop. They don't. They reveal a Daze. Okay. So my guess is... actually, hang on. My guess is they are going to... My guess is they're going to flip Delver with the Daze. Yeah, this is actually interesting because if they flip Delver, then I'm at 2. And that means I can't fetch, and I'm functionally dead. So what we could try to do here is cast Consider and hope that gets a fetch out of them that results in them not um, having a instant or sorcery. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that in my second main phase, because I think otherwise I mostly just am dead. Come on, fetch, fetch, fetch. No, they didn't fetch. Okay, I'll draw the Doomsday. So what's my out here? It is drawing Brainstorm, and then that still doesn't do it. I think. Yeah, bummer. Yeah, well played by the opponent. Oh, and they just found Bolt anyways. GG's. Okay, we're on the play for round number 2, and we get an acceptable hand here, which I'm going to keep. And I'm going to fetch a basic island. And this was good. This was good. Okay, I'm going to draw Force of Will here. I'm actually going to play out my Petal, just in case opponent goes for a Chalice for 0 for some reason. Like, they might go Chalice 1, Chalice 0. That's a plan that Stompy deck sometimes. Taiga, okay. Taiga means, I think, either lands or like the Epic Storm type deck. So, Doomsday on top of the deck here. It's going to be a little bit of a slow grind. So, we're going to have to hope that that we don't get like run over. Yeah, this feels like Storm. So if they go Dark Ritual here, I think I might have to Force of Will it and then daze their Veil of Summer, because if they do, like, if their payoff spell is Galvanic Relay, then it's a problem, right? But then it's also just a problem next turn. I will be passing, so yeah, let's let this happen. Actually, if they go Thoughtseize, then it's okay. Maybe we get lucky and it's a Beseech the Mirror line. So they imprint their Song of Creation. Okay. If they just go Relay here, then it's a bummer. But at least we didn't give them any Storm. Storm is 5. Galvanic Relay. Okay. Let's see. Veil of Summer. That's good. Gamble, so they can go for Echo. Petal. Oh, wow. And a Chrome Box. And now they gamble. Okay. So if they gamble here, do I just let it resolve? If I don't, then my Force of Will is gone. This is tough, right? Because if I go for Doomsday next turn, if I force this, or rather, I guess I let this happen, right? This is at best for them. It's gonna mean they have one fewer lines at Diamond, so they have no mana, no lands in their exile zone. So if they draw a spell next turn, they can imprint it on the Chrome Box, go Lotus Petal, and then they can pay for days. And if they find a land, then it's a land. So is there anything they find that doesn't let them either play a land plus Petal or Chrome Box plus Petal? I guess another artifact. But yeah, so like if they draw another Chrome Box exactly, but they already have one of those in play, I guess it needs to be a black spell, right? Because Beseech is 4 mana, and 3 of them have to be black, and right now they only have one thing that makes black mana, and the Petal is the second one. So what happens? I force this. I have one single daze. I draw my Doomsday. I cast it, and then I just hope for the best. And like their worst line here for them is gamble for another Echo, But then we can build a pile that somewhat beats that. Yeah, I think I force this. And yeah, if I force that initial Dark Ritual, then at least they can just go gamble for Echo. Anyways, so I think we want we want Force of Will in case we get Echo of Eon. And then otherwise, what do we want? I don't know, Brainstorm, LED, Cycler. How does that sound? So that means if they do cast Echo of Eons, then we have the 5 cards in our deck, the Doomsday in our graveyard, and the 2 cards in hand. So that's 8 cards. So we will draw Force of Will plus a blue card, and the blue card there will be another blue card aside from Thassa. But then it's a problem if Thassa's Oracle is in our hand along with LED. I think we have to make the Street Wraith another land. We can just make it Underground Sea. I do also expect to probably have to daze here. I don't know. Yeah, let's try this. And if for some reason they don't do shit next turn, let's draw the Brainstorm. And so we can. But then again, we don't have the Cycler, so it doesn't matter. Thassa second from the bottom, and then we'll draw Force of Will, and then draw Brainstorm. No, that doesn't make sense. I guess we won't put Force of Will as high, so we'll draw LED, Brainstorm, and then that's the quickest way to win, I think. Alright, let's go. I do expect to lose this. Any land that makes black mana or spell they draw here for turn that is black, so it can be imprinted with a Chromox, means that we just like functionally win or lose. And they just draw Echo. Okay. Of course, my last card is Force of Will. Why wouldn't it be? And now they can just beseech Mox Opal. That's not on right now. Land. I mean, the Force of Will wouldn't have saved us anyways because they also had the Veil out here, just floating in exile. So it's not like it matters massively. Here comes Veil of Summer. Galvanic Relay. Interesting. That can honestly only be a question about building Storm. They exile more stuff. What? They're passing? Couldn't they? So they spent 3 mana. Maybe, yeah, the black mana. They were choked on black mana. Wow. Ha! Did not see that one paying off. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Alright, got away with one there. We want the Force of Negations and Consign to Memory. Grafdigger's Cage is a maybe. Like, they do play both Echo of Eons and Gaia's Will. Sheoldred is also a maybe. The Juresses are also maybes. Like, the Veil of Summer. I mean, Veil of Summer is not a reason not to be playing like counterspell, so it shouldn't be a reason not to be playing discard, but it is a frustrating card. And I also don't want to overboard here. And I'm not sure how good Consign is. Like, Storm can very easily beat like Consign if they're playing discard, but this deck is playing more Veil of Summer effects than Thoughtseize effects, so say we want 8 cards. We can cut Cavern of Souls, cut the Cabal Ritual, cut a Lotus Petal, cut a Personal Tutor, cut one of the win conditions. Let's just make it a Jace. Cut a Cycler. Do I want 6 discard spells? Maybe I only want 5. Maybe I'll survive with only 2 Personal Tutor. And then Sheoldred, I mean, it is only Echo of Eons on their side that cares about Sheoldred. I know they play Brainstorm, but I'm not even sure they're playing Ponder, and like I guess their Song of Creation actually. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe the shoulder should be somewhere in there. Okay, I am definitely keeping this one. They're only getting to 6. Not having an island is awkward. They found 6 they like, and they're casting a brainstorm. Okay, and passing. I don't know if I'm supposed to go for Doomsday here or cast Grafdigger's Cage. I think I cast the Cage and then cast Doomsday next turn with more mana available. Also giving myself the chance to draw a Brainstorm or a Cycler to just make it a same turn kill. I'm comfortable doing this since I have both Force of Will and Daze now, plus the Cage shutting off Echo and half of Beseech the Mirror. And Commercial District tapped, sure. Well, I mean that one has to come into play tapped. Veil of Summer. Okay, that makes me think they have a Veil of Summer. Ponder. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Cast Doomsday. And I was gonna say Ponder into another Force, but that would just make it Force instead of Force Daze, and kind of make it so we can't same turn win on the subsequent turn. I could just Ponder to get a card deeper in the pile. Maybe just like getting Force of Will anyways is safer, just in case. Like it might be the question between winning and losing, and then we'll figure it out from there. So we'll like Ponder into Force, then we'll draw Brainstorm for turn. If Brainstorm at the beginning of my next turn is the only card in our hand, we will cast it immediately because otherwise it won't work anymore, and we'll draw Thassa, LED, and Edge, and we'll put Thassa on the bottom and Edge on top, and then play out the LED because then we're not vulnerable to discard, and then we'll win a turn from there. And if we end up with a card in our hand when we draw the Brainstorm next turn, then we'll just win. Okay, so LED and then Brainstorm on top of it, and then we'll draw Force of Will. And we'll pass. There's an LED and another one. So, like, Gamble for Echo is not a line. I wonder what they have planned here. Float to, like, red and... Okay, so they're just dead. They crack their LEDs and put Burning Wish on the stack, and I Force of Will. This should prompt the concession, I would assume. Yeah, Grafdigger's Cage proved pretty good there. They had the Gamble and like Veil. I guess the Veil was surveilled, but yeah, still. All right, GG's. On to round number 3. All right, on the plate for round number 3. I think this is a mulligan. No blue card to pair with the Force, and no cantrip or Doomsday Insight. Yeah, I'll keep this. So let's put back a Dark Ritual. This is awkward as hell. Our opponent, whose username is Unban Oko and Labe, a real dreamer, also mulligan to 6. If this is a blue deck, then I am just very, very not doing well versus any counter magic. And if this is a Chalice of the Void deck, I'm also not doing well versus Chalice of the Void. Alright, let's put Doomsday here. We could just go for it and put Doomsday on the stack with no permanents in play, but I think I am beholden to wait here. Urza's Workshop. Okay. Grim Monolith. Is this the turn 1 4-drop? Ugh. If it is, I just have to hope it's not Karn. Yep, this is turn 1. Turn 1 4-drop. Please be the One Ring. Yes! Okay. We have a turn 2 win here. Actually, we don't. What am I saying? Ugh. Got all excited there. Yeah, we are missing a mana. So I think I probably have to put Force of Will. Put Force of Will on top so that I can Edge of Autumn into it. And then what's the plan? No, that doesn't work. Because if I have to do that, then I am just like several turns from winning, and they can draw like a bunch of cards next turn. So I could Edge of Autumn into a island and cast Ponder. That also really doesn't like do a lot. So Ponder. What happens if I Edge of Autumn into Island? 4 cards left in the deck. I cast the Ponder and draw Daze, so I have 3 cards left in the deck. No, that also doesn't do it because then I can't like win. I think it's just cast like make a pile that plays like I'm up against a goldfish and then win next turn. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, so basically we have to hope that opponent can't put Karn the Great Creator into play and also can't just kill us. Those are the two things we have to bank on, and they have a ring and a key. The only silver lining is they don't have a soul land in play, and they only have 1 key. But I mean, that's about to change. So we draw the island, we cast the Ponder, or rather, we draw the island, we cycle Edge, drawing the Brainstorm, and then we win. But I'm not convinced of the success here. All right, they take 1 from the ring. 4 cards in hand. They're about to draw 5. Second Workshop as their land. Okay, so they have 4 mana. Ring is untapped, 3 mana floating, land drop made. They have 8 cards in hand. If any of those is a key, then there is no telling how bad this can go for us. Mox Opal immediately on. That might just act as a Lotus Petal if they have more, but it's all the same here. We have to just pray. There's a key. So 2 mana available after this key activation, and they can draw 4 more cards. Oh, but they activate the Monolith. Okay, and they have Karn. I'm just going to concede. Karn effectively stops us from winning because we only have the ability to make 1 blue mana then. Yeah, they just goldfished faster. Okay, so the Consign to Memory and Force of Negation and I think the Sheoldred are all cards I am interested in. We can cut a land. I'm going to cut the Cavern of Souls, and we can cut, I guess, one of the win conditions. Having access to Jace might be good because they likely have access to Disruptor Flute, but I don't think that's reason enough. So I'll cut a Jace. I guess I'll shave a Cycler and a Lotus Petal. And a Personal Tutor, although, you know, this is kind of about being fast, is what I'm trying to say. And then I think I'll cut the Cabal Ritual as well. Yeah. I don't expect them to have, like, any prison pieces except for Karn. And I think we have, like, a decent setup out of the sideboard here. Sheoldred is the card I'm least sure about if we want. This hand sucks. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand would be great if it had a land in it. I'm gonna mulligan. On the play, I can't do this. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. Keep and bottom Ponder and a land. And opponent is also on 5 cards. This is a turn 2 Doomsday where we get to duress them on turn 1, and they're on a mulligan to 5. So, I mean, this is about as good as a turn as a hand of 5 gets. So let's duress. Okay, I think the take here is the key, and I'm not gonna play out the Lotus Petal because they're not on shells, and this is no longer a Vexing Bauble format. Play a tower here. Tower of Power. Polluted Delta. So, if they, like, I think the thing we lose to here is them having drawn Disruptor Flute in the top 2 cards. And if they have Colligan's Command and somehow have access to enough mana, which I don't think they will, we can also beat that because we have the fetch land. So basically, that will be our insurance policy. We'll put a land on the bottom of the pile, and and we'll put the Thassa there with some cyclers on top. I think I will make it to, so I'll be at 9. I have fetch down to 8, and then I don't mind cycling twice, going down to 4. They have the Flesh Raker, but they would need to deal me 4 damage then by casting 4 colorless spells, which they can't. So, plus we don't know that we need to fetch anyways. They get to see our entire sideboard here, but that is the cost of playing Doomsday. So yeah, Disruptor Flute or bust, I think. That's Saga. They're paying costs here. Defense card. Okay, so now nothing beats us here. We cycle through everything and put Thassa on the stack. And we win. All right, cool. We both mulligan to 5. I think if they don't mulligan here, I probably don't win. But I don't know. Like, on the other hand, this was so fast. I don't think the key really mattered. Of course, we don't know what the 2 unknown cards in their hand is or are. So, do we want to play things differently here? I don't think so. Okay, so they mulligan to 6 here. I have a hand that is a little bit soft to a turn 1 whatever, but has the promise of a turn 2 shoulder if I can find a land. I'm going to keep this hand. Like, the only improvement here would be if this LED was like a force of will or force of negation. Okay, so they found 6 they like. Ancient Tomb. Defense Grid. Crap. Okay. Ritual? Personal Tutor. So, Personal Tutor doesn't do it, right? Like, Personal Tutor makes it so I draw Doomsday and then can cast Doomsday and pass. Oh man, this is tough because the defense grid is really good here from them. And no matter how I slice it, I'm ending up several turns into the future. So if I go Personal Tutor right now, they get to untap, they have 5 cards and 2 mana, they get to do whatever. That's going to happen no matter what. But then I get the turn, I cast Doomsday, then I pass. So that's the second time I pass. They get a 3rd turn, and then I untap and win on my turn 3. If I don't do that, if I instead like cast a Ponder here and say find another land, then next turn I can put Shoulder It on the stack, and then Shoulder It will have to I will have to either do that and Shoulder It solos the game, of which I'm uncertain if she's going to be able to do that. Oh man, it like, let's say that my plan still remains Doomsday, then I kind of end up in the same spot where I have to spend another turn. I end up on this with the same fundamental turn, I think. It just feels so bad giving them 2 untaps here. No, 3 untaps is what I'm going to give them. One now, after I cast the personal tutor. Then I cast Doomsday, so that's one more. And no, and then I win. It would be two. It would be two. I think I am gonna actually go for the personal tutor line here. We could also like ponder and hope to find both a land and an actual Doomsday. What happens if we do that? Then next turn we win. But then we're asking the deck to provide us with both a mana source and a Doomsday. That's a lot to ask for. I am going to cast the personal tutor. And then I guess, depending on how scary things get next turn, we may have to deviate from our plan. Like if they just go Urza's Saga pass, I mean, I would love that. Uh-oh. 4 mana. 1 ring. Okay. I mean, there's no key here. I have 4 cards and no key. A key, of course, just completely unlocks this hand, but do I have anything to say about that? So what happens if I ponder here and find another land? It still doesn't really do anything, right? No. I think I just have to go for this. And it'll probably end up with the same outcome as in game 1, but at least this time they don't actually have a key in play. Okay, so we have 1 land in play, which is also a problem if they just resolve Karn. So if they resolve Karn or a key, we're likely toast. Yeah. Yeah, this is not good. I suppose we better put another land in the mix. And then some cyclers. So what's the plan here? We draw whatever. We draw a cycler. Cycle, cycle, cycle. I think instead of the Edge of Autumn, I'm gonna put a fetch land in there, just because if somehow like what happens is a Sowing Micro spawn, which I'm not sure they're playing. In fact, I probably think they're not playing that. But if they are and they get to kill our Underground Sea, I would rather just Wraith into Thassa. Okay, so Delta on top of C, and then the Thassa and the 2 Wraiths here. And I'm just gonna pass and cross my fingers. So they just drew another 2 cards. 7 in hand, access to 4 mana. 4 mana. Fleshraker, okay. They still have their land drop, and things can still get very scary here. We don't have to cycle both Wraiths if we are left with our land, but I don't believe things are going to be so good. 2 mana. Another Fleshraker, okay. Are we getting a turn? That's the question I have for you. They can make mana with these, right? Yeah, never mind. They can keep going. And there's a key. We lost. Gross. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, it was a long shot. Any spell here kills me, right? Because they get to nuke me twice. Boom. All right, GG's opponent. All right, on the play for round number 4. Wow, this is an awkward hand. I kind of actually feel like mulliganing this hand. Okay, that's much better. Let's keep this. All right, so I keep this. I bottom, and so what do we need here? I think we want, well, we're going to put Doomsday on the side, which is just resolving here, making me feel like I'm not up against a blue opponent. So if they have Wasteland, that's the big thing here, right? So we can cycle the edge to draw, say, basic island. And then, but then we also need another land. So if we make that Cavern of Souls, and then make the rest of the cards into cyclers, we might have to hold off for a turn, but I think that's probably still okay. So let's see. If nothing happens, I draw like a Street Wraith. And then I cycle Street Wraith into the Street Wraith, into Thassa, and then cycle Edge of Autumn into Basic Island, and then the last card in the deck is Cavern. Yeah, let's try this. Not sure what punishes us here, but I mean something might. But our opponent also mulligan to 6. Basic Plains. Yeah, Mox Diamond. Okay, so it is a Dark Depth strategy. Pithing Needle. So I could just cycle the Edge now. It will cost me the land, and then cycle both Street Wraiths. But then I lose to stuff like Ghost Quarter or Rashadenport. I think I'm actually going to force of will this. It's unfortunate if they also have something else that's relevant, like an endurance, for instance. And I'm not going to go for it here because that loses to Swords to Plowshares. So, yeah, we just have to pucker up here and hope for the best. That's a Yavimaya, okay. Expedition map, sure. And they're passing. Okay, so I think what we lose to here is endurance. I am going to cycle the Street Wraith or not the Edge of Autumn, I mean, to get all the way to the bottom, because I don't want to lose to them having double Swords to Plowshares here by sitting on the Edge of Autumn and trying to be cute about it. I really don't expect that to be the case, but you never know. Okay. So we're up against like some kind of depth strategy. I don't know, probably lands, but might have creatures. I think we want the second basic island and the 2 Force of Negation in case they have something like Sphere of Resistance, those types of things. And I think I'm going to cut a Duress and a couple of copies of Daze, and then probably keep both Jace and Thassa in. Yeah, let's try this. Okay. This hand is slow to get out of out of its tracks, but then somewhat interesting from there. I think I'm gonna keep. We're kind of soft to a turn 1 lock piece from them or a fast combo, but instead they just go Forest Go. Love it. Hey, okay, that's sick. All right, let's see. I think I am going to. I could fetch basic swamp here, and then, like, because of my hand having 2 cyclers, I could resolve Jace if they aren't like sitting on Pyroblast or stuff like that. I think I kind of like that. Wow, talk about a perfect draw. Okay, so if I draw if I draw LED, and then I cycle. I guess I just needed 1 cycler then. But let's just for fun say I cycle into both Jace and Thassa here. And then I resolve the Jace and plus Jace. Then Jace draws 2 cards. No, mills 2 cards and then draws a card, right? So if we make that the 2 basic islands, maybe we need to make it 1 basic island and 1 cavern. Because then if that happens, and then the endurance will get the lands back, and then we can cast Thassa at a later point. Yeah, this seems pretty good. So I guess Pithing Needle on Edge of Autumn would be super duper annoying. But then we'll just have to accept that as part of the hazard here. So let's see here. We draw the LED and then we resolve Jace and draw Thassa. We cycle both edges. Alternatively, how about this? We could also keep. No, we have to. We'll lose the second edge anyway, so never mind. Yeah, let's do this. So we'll put the 2 lands on the bottom. I don't think the order much matters. And then Thassa and Jace, and then LED on top. All right. Oh, there is a Ghost Quarter. His controller may search. So I don't have to search, but if I don't search, then I can only cycle once. I think I actually do not. I choose not to search here to be able to make my Jace play. And it doesn't matter if they needle Jace next turn. So I'm going to plus myself here. It's going to put my Thassa into the graveyard. And then I'm going to win on my draw step next turn if they don't Endurance or remove the Jace. If they remove the Jace, then I lose, which would not be great. Yavimaya. Okay. They're passing, which makes me think they have Endurance. Exploration, okay. Windswept Heath. What's happening? They have Endurance, okay. And they exile Choke. Okay, now my deck is 10 cards big. Lush Portico, right on. Expedition map, okay. So they're halfway towards Dark Depths. Doomsday. So if I plus Jace on myself, which I think is correct, then I do run the risk of putting Thassa into the graveyard, or both islands. That's probably still the move here. Okay, so LED. Do I risk running Cavern of Souls out here? I think so, right? Because then if they focus on that, if they loan back the Ghost Quarter, then I can get a basic island, which I suppose then gets Ghost Quartered just ad infinitum each turn. They don't do the loam thing. Okay, so they just had a wasteland. They crack the map. So I suppose if they have either side of the combo in hand, like Dark Depths or Stage. Okay, Saga, okay. I think I beat Saga, but maybe not. Okay, so we draw the Thassa, but we also mill the basic island. So now we have no way of actually casting Thassa. But Jace is going to resolve, or Jace is going to win the game. Yeah, they concede. All right, cool. Jace putting in some work there. So this was lands, I guess. Okay, we are on the play for round number 5. That's 4 out of the 5 rounds we've been on the play. Yeah, this is an acceptable hand I will keep. Opponent, meanwhile, mulligans to 6. This is the positive record match. If we win this, we'll 3-2, and if we lose, we will 2-3. I think I start with a ponder here. I have days, so I'm not as concerned about like having to thought seize them. Okay, I'm gonna draw the days, and then I'm gonna draw Doomsday on my next turn. If for some reason they mess with our deck, like shuffle it, I can cycle the Street Wraith. Volcanic Island. Alright, looks like we're maybe bookending the league with matches against Tempo. They shuffle off of their ponder. This could also be Sneak and Show. Okay, I'm gonna cycle the Street Wraith and draw the Personal Tutor, and then I'm gonna cast Brainstorm. Okay, we find a land and a cycler, so that's good. Get rid of Personal Tutor. Get rid of Ponder. And then I fetch Underground Sea and I cast Thoughtseize. Do I play out a pedal here? I think I do play out the pedal. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I wanted them to daze here. I don't know. No, I'd rather them daze me or do something next turn so I can daze and get a land drop out of my 2 lands in play. Okay, so this is show and tell. I think I take their brainstorm because that's the card that is gonna make it so I have less information. And then I have days here to stop their, like if they top deck a fatty here. Sculling Tarn. Maybe this is a ponder. Oh, there's a petal. Did they draw fatty? Would appear so. Show and tell. So we know their hand. So I'm gonna daze this, putting them pretty far away from doing anything. It could also be that they wanted to show and tell in the sneak attack, actually, and then they drew a force of will or something. Okay, I'm gonna cast Doomsday here. And I'm going to put all the cyclers and then Thassa, because if they do put show and tell in the stack next turn, I can let it resolve and then put a Thassa into play. Let's just see here. Okay. So if nothing happens here and I just get my turn, I draw edge, so I have double edge. I can then cycle into those two into the 2 street wraiths, and then street wraiths draw me into Thassa plus Duress. That seems reasonable. We'll put Duress on the bottom in case show and tell resolves next turn. Like I said, then we can just cycle street wraiths, cycle all the way through here, and have Thassa in hand to put in with show and tell. Here comes Ponder. Okay, they don't shuffle. So we have to play out the cavern here because we want to sacrifice that to one of the street wraiths to be able to keep up days. So let's cycle this. We can cycle this. Second edge. And then I'm actually going to go for the duress thing. Because as I mentioned earlier in the league in another matchup, there's a non-zero chance that we are in, like, they might have something like consigned to memory. Like, that might be a main deck option that people are trying out. We could still daze, I guess. But anyways, they have 3 unknown cards. Could be force, blue card, consign. They daze. Okay. Well, I'm not going to pay. Okay. So they play daze. It's good to know. I mean, I think they completely made the correct play, protecting all of the information. There's no need. And if they just let it resolve, I'm going to see the daze anyway. But, all right, so these 5 cards and these 2 cards. The 2 Shoalrits, 3 Duress, and 2 Force of Negation. I know, consigned to memory, technically, like, it can counter a Traxa trigger, but I don't think that's reason enough to have it in. I'm going to board out my LED and my Consider and a couple of copies of Personal Tutor. And probably also a couple of Cyclers. Yeah, and I guess the Cabal Ritual. Make that the swap. Oh, hang on. Do I need 2 win conditions? No, I think I'll keep in the Cabal Ritual. And then board out the Jace. They are a Pyroblast deck. And I have 6 discard spells to beat a consigned to memory. But I suppose that you could say the same thing about Pyroblast, but I expect there to be more Pyroblasts. Maybe that's incorrect. Yeah, that's probably incorrect, actually. But I mean, Jace is twice the mana Thassa is, so it's not like Jace needs to be there and really warrant his spot. I think I keep this hand maybe against my better judgment, but on the draw we can cycle, and the top 2 cards have a land, and that's really good. And if not, we do have the pedal to like cast a ponder. Meanwhile, opponent is pondering. So not quite bookending the league with tempo matchups, but with Volcanic Island matchups, I guess. Okay, they float a pedal. Well, that's not the land I was hoping for. Although that is pretty sweet if we were to find a Shieldred. Okay, I think I'll just float the Undercity Sewers here. And I guess I'll take a Duress here, and I'll float a Petal, at least make out like I can do something and then play around Daze. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand and seems to be passing. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to play the Swamp and cast Duress here. Brainstorm in response. Okay. Okay. So, Force of Will, I suppose, is the take here. The only other consideration would be to take the Petal, because if they hit a sneak attack on top, then that's not so good. But I'm going to take the Force of Will, and then I'm going to ponder, and maybe I'll find my own force. I don't, but I do find all the stuff. I'm gonna draw a Shieldred here, and then I'm going to try and win next turn with Doomsday. And if they probably like hid, I don't know, they hid something, right? It's probably a combo piece. So we might lose now, but we'll see. Here's a shuffle and a Petal, or rather, and the Volcanic and the Petal. Crap. Yeah, that's a sneak attack. They should just like put an Emrakul here, annihilate me, and then finish me off next turn. I realize I could have Brainstormed there. Oh, okay. I mean, Atraxa. And they don't hit it. I think they just lost. Is that right? Because they made their land drop. They didn't hit a Petal, and they didn't hit a Force of Will. Wow. And I have the win, like, sewn up. I guess yeah, no, never mind. I know their hand. It's the Emrakul. They choose Island, Daze, Atraxa. Yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah, that was decisive. Yeah, they went for they dreamed big and hoped to hit a Petal, which, I mean, I don't know. They have 2 Petals already in the graveyard, and they have, like, I don't know what, 46, 7, 8 cards in their deck. Anyways, we don't care. They have Daze. That's the only thing we have to beat. So if we put in some Cyclers, then the rest doesn't really matter. So, like, I I cast Brainstorm now. They Daze. I tap out to pay, and then I suppose I need a Petal as well. And what else? I guess I'll hide the second Shieldred in case this somehow goes wrong, but it won't go wrong. Cycler, Petal, Shieldred. I don't know, like Force of Will. Or maybe Force of Negation then is better to also hide that. So let's just see here. So we'll cast the Brainstorm. We'll draw Edge of Autumn, Street Wraith, and Lotus Petal. We'll put back Shieldred and one of the Petals, and then we'll cycle into a bunch of stuff here. Yeah. So we can put Shieldred and Force on the bottom. And let's cast this Brainstorm. Big Daze, I pay. So we put back Shieldred and like Edge of Autumn. And we cycle the Street Wraith. 3 cards left in the deck. We cycle the Edge of Autumn. 2 cards left in the deck. We play the Petal. And make our land drop. Name Merfolk, and there she blows. Alright, cool. Wow. I feel like I got away with one there. Yeah, if my opponent just instead puts in Emrakul and annihilates me, then I have like one turn with zero permanents in play to beat their resolve sneak attack with the tracks in here. All right. I mean, I think this list feels pretty good. The sideboard, I'm not so sure. I feel like the Shieldreds. I almost feel like I either want like a third Shieldred so that I actually have a genuine, like a better chance of drawing her versus the tempo matchups. Where I do feel like Shieldred is still pretty good. I feel like if I like in that round one loss to Rug Delver, if my sideboard had been 3 Shieldred, 3 Barrowgoyf, and like 4 copies of Fatal Push, I feel it would have been very interesting. But then that's also 10 slots. I guess in that case, you can probably get rid of the defense grids and the Duresses, and then that's most of the cards. I also don't know how much the Consign to Memory really did. We did play it against a very relevant matchup where we were just on the draw with a Consign, and if we had been on the play, it would have been great. So, I don't know. But I think I might want to try that. Maybe I want to try and say... But I don't know. At the same time, like, I was just saying, I haven't faced tempo, like, almost at all lately. So is it really something to contend with? And then I immediately face it in the first round here. Let's say if I add 3 Barrowgoyfs and another Shieldred, I mean that is like those 6 cards are just very good versus Volcanic Island decks, especially Volcanic Island tempo decks. Oops, I put it in the deck. And then let's say Fatal Push, X4. And I think we can probably cut the basic island and then maybe cut like one of either Consign to Memory or Force of Negation. I don't know. It's probably the Consign, like cut one of those. And then I still like having the 2 cages for other matchups. And I don't know if this is enough, like, to really grind through this package here. Because then what we would board out, let's say it was versus Rug Delver, we would board out the Doomsday package as much as we feel like doing that, the LED, and then what? One of the Street Wraiths? Because at least like Street Wraith is still a somewhat respectable card, but then look at these personal tutors. This doesn't feel like it's mapping out very well. So maybe we like keep Athasa and keep like 2 copies of Doomsday, and then board out maybe all of the personal tutors, or at least 3 of them. Yeah, this mapping, this doesn't feel too bad, right? Maybe then we want to make it a 1-1 split of Edge of Autumn and Street Wraith. It's like maybe this is the sort of sideboard mapping versus tempo. I do really like these. These 10 cards, I think, would have done wonders against all the, like against the all the Pyroblasts and Force of Negations and Force of Wills and Consign to Memories in our opponent's deck. Like obviously Force of Will counters this, but the fact that all the other cards don't really, and we can remove their pesky 1-drops, they can still like slip through a Murktide, but I think Barrowgoyf races Murktide and at least trades with it with a life swing in our favor. Yeah. All right, I think this is probably pretty cool. I'm going to try this next, I think, next time I play a league. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. For all new viewers to the channel, thanks so much for joining. Um, if you want to help out the channel, please, I think most of you probably know the YouTube routine by now. Like, comment, and of course subscribe. If you want to support the running of the channel, you can also choose to become a member. I would greatly appreciate that on YouTube. But in either case, it's just been awesome having you here, and I'm going to be back with some more Legacy. All right, bye bye.